to stick around. We have a moment here for questions for our team. I'll carry the microphone. Do we have any questions?
Yeah, before we get started, I'd just like to invite E up. E is a representative of the Greater Council of Churches of Greater Seattle, whatever, and they've been helping us go through this and will guide us as we move forward. So thank you for being here, E.
Questions?
For your listening sessions, do you have to be an official member of the church to participate?
Absolutely not. We want input from everyone who has anything to do with Woodland Park, members, people who come every Sunday, people who only come occasionally, and people who may have been here, don't come much anymore, but come occasionally. So yes, everybody, please.
Great question.
In addition to people who come to church, we also want to be talking with the community. So if you have suggestions of people that you think would be interesting for us to chat with, please let us know.
I didn't hear in your beautiful presentation earlier anything about the role, if any, of session in all of this. Can you tell us about that?
I'm sorry, Gene, I didn't quite hear all that.
What's
Oh, thank you. Yeah, great question. The session is the creator of this team. When we went through our process and we started assembling ourselves as a potential team, the first step on our journey was to the session. And we explained to the session what we were about and what our proposed process would look like. And we wanted to get the session's input and then eventually their approval. And we did that, and in true Presbyterian fashion, it took 2 or 3 months because there were questions, good questions, great feedback. And so we listened and we adjusted, and then we came back and then we finally got it right and the session approved it. So that's going to be the process from here on, is that we're going to do some work. We'll bring it back to the session. The session will review it, comment, change it, whatever. And then once it's approved, we'll bring it to the congregation, because the session is the first step in the approving process, and the congregation will be the second and final step on our process as we go forward internally. Now, some of this may involve the presbytery eventually, but for right now, amongst our family, the process is first stop, the session, second, the congregation. But this team is very much the creation of the session, and we want to make sure that the whole congregation knows that the session is the governing body for this entire process.
And just to clarify, when Dave says first stop session and then to the congregation, he means with regard to process. That right. Session is approving the process, and then that next step is implemented with the congregation, not with regard to decision making. The decision making will eventually come out of the congregation.
I'll try to do better this time. So when we come to these meetings that we're going to schedule, are you guys going to have like a list of options or suggestions or something for us?
Not yet. What we're going to have is a list of questions to engage the get the right angle here.
Hold it closer.
Okay.
That's the main thing.
What we're going to have is a list of questions to start off with about the mission of our church, what we want out of our church, and about maybe what our vision is for the property. So we will not come in with any options at the beginning. Later on, after what we've listened, we may come back with some options that we've been hearing from the congregation and that we've been thinking about as a team, but only as a next phase after the initial listening. So we will not start out with any options for the listening groups to consider.
You will be bringing some additional information, though, about current status, right? Yeah.
I'm hoping that you will take notes or bullet points from each group and be able to share them with the whole congregation so we kind of know what's going on with other groups that maybe they thought of something we didn't. And so it's just a point of process, I guess, that I'd like to see happen.
Yeah, there'll be summary reports from each group and then a summary report of all the groups so that everybody can kind of get a feel of what was discussed at the other dinner party, and then overall what kind of came out, general themes from overall. So yeah, yes.
Other questions?
Hey, are you guys trying to increase the size of your congregation, or is this just like the property matters, or what is a little bit of explanation?
Good question.
We are always and always looking for new people who would like to join our service to God here. But this process is not a process where we are actively going out and looking for new members, as I said, but we're always looking for people who want to join our path. This is to look at how we, as the current congregation and future congregation, are going to use our property for our mission.
Any other questions? This is the very beginning of many opportunities to interact with this team and one another about this subject, so I'm sure more questions will come up. And there's a plan to do, in addition to the listening sessions, to have more times like this as well. So there will be multiple opportunities.
So next steps, stay tuned for a sign-up process where we have these 6 listening sessions, and for you to sign up for the one that meets. Oh, great. Arnie?
Hello. I just have a question, kind of tag on to the last one, but I guess I'm still not clear as to what, kind of example there would be to use the property. I guess because we already rent it out to various organizations. So can you give me an idea as to kind of examples of what other things that we would be considering?
So we don't want to get too specific in terms of options because those specific options will come from the congregation. But to very generally state why we're asking these questions, we're aware, as our folks said, as June especially said in her presentation, that we have some physical plant realities and some financial realities and some people power realities. We are a mighty group, but we are a small group. And that mean that if we wanted to just stay the course, which is an option, if we wanted to just stay the course of how we are currently operating, that we would probably eventually have to make some big decisions to do things differently with our building, because we wouldn't be able to afford to continue to do things exactly as we are now. And so, as June stated in her statement earlier, we really want the congregation to have the opportunity to try to make some intentional strategic decisions before we, heaven forbid, have an earthquake that impacts our unreinforced masonry, or something like that, right? And so we don't want to give real specific examples right now. We know this group does have lots of ideas, but we assume you do too, and none of those ideas are currently the thing that we're going to try to talk you into. Nothing like that. It's more that we know that we need to be asking these questions, and so we want to get into it together.
And I just add one other thing. The condition of the building was one of the factors in deciding not to reopen the Monday lunch program.
And I actually would invite all of you to walk around the building if you haven't done that recently, especially over in the old part where we don't meet. So you might not know what the situation is over there. Be careful, doors lock behind you, but feel free to wander. I mean, the Taoists are probably next door, so you can't go in the sanctuary part, but go downstairs in the basement, look at it, check out the bathrooms, see the condition of things. It's a real eye-opener.
We were meeting, in the last planning meeting for this presentation, we were meeting in the nursery because JoJo is an unofficial member of this, this team. She's often present during our meetings. And Todd made the comment of invite people in here to look out the nursery windows at the window casements of the old building that you can see out there, and notice that most of the windows of the old building are in that condition. So there's lots of small examples that we can give, and these are the specifics that we're going to get into as information is provided to you about the current status of the building. But we also, and we'll need to get into those things, and we also want to stay focused on the big picture question of like, how do we align our mission with the way that we use our property, right? So that's sort of how we're trying to direct how we're going to address those concerns and questions.
So I am a member of Alcoholics Anonymous, right? But it's anonymously. But that could be a way, I think. Have you guys considered making a meeting here where people donate what they can, maybe weekly? It's just an idea or a thought as a consideration.
So that's exactly the kind of stuff we want to hear about in our listening sessions. What are the needs and dreams within the congregation? What are the needs in the community? How can we play a role in the community, and how can the community engage with us? It's that kind of stuff would be wonderful to hear.
And again, if this feels really overwhelming and kind of vague right now, it's because we're trying not to get too ahead of ourselves, right? We want to make sure that we hear from you first about where you are. Also, as was mentioned earlier, we are certainly not alone in the questions and realities that we're facing. And so this team has also been learning from other churches that are in various states of a similar process. And so, we're not in it alone. We have both things that might work for us and things that probably wouldn't work for us, but there's other lessons that we take from it. And so if it's feeling a little uncertain right now, that's okay. That's where it's supposed to be right now. Because first we need to hear where you all are before moving into next stages. Okay, well, I'm sure you'll have more questions. Please feel free to reach out to this team. Also, other members of session who are in here, if you would mind raising your hand. We've got Jean, Judy's our clerk, Matt, Tom. And so they're also very much in this conversation. Please feel free to reach out to individuals, to Joe and I as well. We are mostly trying to support this team in their work, though, and look out for opportunities to sign up soon. We're going to get those out soon. We're hoping to do these listening sessions mostly in August. But if those particular dates don't work for you, let us know, because we definitely want to hear from everyone. Thank you all. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. have a home